Good afternoon and welcome everyone. Thank you again for joining. My name is Neil. I'm the senior trainer at Creative Hut. We are basically a STEAM education resource and training provider with Makeblock, absolutely being one of our key partners on everything that we do. And so for those are just joining the first session here, just to really quickly introduce what Makeblock are about. They actually provide lots of brilliant hands-on resources for STEAM education in the classroom and at home, and that encompasses things like robotics resources, which cater for early years all the way up into further and higher education, but also things like 3D printing technology and laser cutting, which are fantastic for all sorts of different educational projects. And what goes hand in hand with those is their free software, so free programming software for the different resources, together with curriculum materials, which you can use to take this into the classroom or use at home in different areas of the curriculum. And what they've developed to support all of this is their STEAM on Board program. So this is providing lots of different support and training to teachers and end users on everything they do hardware and programming wise. But what they've recently developed to help in the situation that we're currently in is their STEAM on Board online training course. So this is enabling teachers and parents to make use of free of charge tools, which everyone has access to help develop children's computing skills at home. So it's great that they've put together this program for people to make use of now. So for those are just joining us for the first time today, this is actually the third lesson within the full course, which is to give you a really quick summary of everything you've got here to help you. There's actually a full course of 12 lessons, which are being delivered as 45-minute tutorials as live webinars by ourselves. You will be able to access all of the past recordings from previous lessons, so we'll make sure we send the links through for those to you. And what goes hand in hand with those are all the lesson materials that you need to be able to deliver these direct to your children and pupils as well. So that is lesson plans, example slides for you to use for the lessons, together with other materials like example programs for the Makeblock programming software, which we'll talk about again in a little more detail in a second. So we will be sharing all that with you, but just to stress what additional support you've got, you can see the middle point here, you can also sign up for the course directly on the Makeblock website. That basically just gives you even more support. So they are also delivering live webinars, which you'll be able to access, which might be at more suitable times for you. You will be able to access all of the lesson materials via there as well, in terms, again, of the slides, lesson plans, and example programs. You'll also have the opportunity to take part in the general Makeblock user community. So everyone's encouraged to create and then share their own projects. So you will be able to upload your own and view others that other people have put together. So it's a great way of sharing best practice and getting new ideas for other things you can do. And it'll also give you the opportunity to provide feedback on the course itself, what you think could be adapted or changed or added to. So yeah, there's lots of great things to take advantage of by signing up directly with Makeblock as well as ourselves. And then last but not least, if you haven't yet done this, you can download the Makeblock 5 programming software via this link. This is what all of these tutorials and lessons in the course as a whole is based on, completely free of charge. You can download that onto pretty much any device and can also run it live within a browser as well. So if you haven't yet done that, you can do that either now or, of course, after the webinar. Because what I want to stress as well is that all of the slides I will be using, don't worry if you don't make lots of notes. We will be providing everything that you need after the webinar to help you deliver this directly with your children and pupils. Okay, so we are going into lesson 3 today. Lesson 3 is entitled Talented Transformations. So again, I'm using the slides which will be the exact same ones that you'll have access to help you deliver this directly to your pupils and children. I'll just be doing a slightly different style to talk through how you can do it, but these are exactly what you'll be able to use in the lessons for yourselves. And the Talented Transformations lesson is all focused on how we can use animations, or animations or effects on the graphics within our program, and that's mainly going to be focused today on the sprites, okay, or the characters like the panda character that we've been focusing on so forth. So that's what the majority of this lesson is going to be focused on. But as always, before we move on to the new learning points, let's take a quick review of what we went through in the last lesson. Okay, so we were, of course, at this point being introduced even further to our panda character, who has joined us here on Earth and wanted to start introducing themselves. So we were looking at how we could use the say blocks to get Panda to speak to us via text on the screen. So we're doing little things like this, asking Panda to say hello. I'm Panda from Intelligent Planets. This is the first time, etc., etc. You can see it all running through. So we were learning how we can use all those say blocks to start getting Panda to have a conversation on the screen. So we were looking at exactly how we coded that. So just as a review of those coding blocks we were using, of course, we were still using our when the green flag clicked block as an event for the start of the codes. And we were looking at the difference between the say hello for 2 seconds and just say hello. So I won't go again into too much detail. I'm sure that was remembered by everyone from the last session. If you didn't get the chance to look at lesson 2 yet, you will be able to access the recording for that. And of course, you've got the details here if you do want to have some additional help on exactly what these were for. And it was just, of course, that we're either going to be staying on the screen for a number of seconds before disappearing, or staying on continuously until we program it to do something else. Okay. So, as I said at the start, we are looking at transformations. So we will go into some examples of the types of transformations you can carry out. But before I go into the details of this, I'm just going to bring up the live Makeblock 5 programming interface in a second. But as we were just looking back at a second ago, with our last lesson, with our last program, where we were looking at getting Panda to introduce themselves and help to meet new friends on Earth. We're now going to take this a step further. So those friends that Panda was starting to meet and say hello to, they would now like to throw a welcome to Earth party to celebrate Panda's arrival, to get to know Panda even better. And what they've asked Panda to do as part of that is to showcase a unique talent. Okay, so Panda is a very talented little individual. It actually so happens that Panda is able to change their appearance. Okay, so Panda can change their size, color, transparency, brightness. They can even multiply, start to whirl around. There's all sorts of things that Panda can do to their physicality, which is amazing. So Panda's going to showcase lots of these transformations, these talents, at the upcoming party. Okay, so that's exactly what Panda is going to do. And we can, of course, code Panda to do that within the Makeblock 5 programming software. Now, you can see you've got just a screenshot of the how this would look in the interface. I'm going to bring this live in a second, and then we'll be able to get hands-on with it. But what I'll be clear on is it does give you, again, the step-by-step guides for exactly how you and the pupils can do this within the slides. So these slides that I'm showing you now, you will have access to yourselves. And it's going to go through breaking down some of the main ones that we will be working with. So again, it's encourages to use that event block. Now, in the past lessons, we've mainly used the green flag. When green flag clicked, start the program. But you can begin the program with lots of different event blocks. So you can see one example here that instead of it being green flag, it's actually when space key pressed. To then start the subsequent actions. We can have lots of different lines of code being started by lots of different event blocks, as you'll see for yourselves in more detail in a second. But something bear that in mind that we'll be able to change this to whatever sort of key press we want. You can see actually it does give a list out here, which is a little bit more difficult to see. We'll see some bit more detail on the live software in a moment. So yeah, press a key on the keyboard to start the subsequent action. Excuse me. We'll then be able to start to look at all the different things we can get Panda to do in terms of appearance and effects. So one of the first independent ones is, well, to start with, sorry, all of these will be within our looks block area, which I know you're already familiar with. One of the first ones we can look at using is the change size by block. And now this, as exactly as it sounds, will change the size of the sprite, the graphical sprite within that stage area. And it's good to know that when you have this value here, the change size by value, when it is positive, that is going to make the sprite larger. If it is a negative value, it will make the sprite smaller. Fairly self-explanatory, but just wanted to clarify that. You've then got lots of other different effects which you can control. So we'll be using this change effect block a lot as well. And this gives you, as you can see here, a lot of different drop-down options, what you can get Panda to do. So this is what we can use to get Panda to showcase all those different talents. And again, it's exactly the same with the size. If the value is positive, the graphical effects that we're asking to happen will be strengthened if it's a positive value. Or if it's a negative value, it will weaken the effects, okay? So it works both ways with all these. Again, hopefully that makes sense, but you'll be able to see this in action in a second. And if we ever just want to stop these graphics or set it back to the original format of the graphic or the sprite, we can use this block here, clear graphic effects. We'll just take it back to the default settings to start again. So just some of the important ones to be aware of. So you've got these slides will help map that out before we start going into having a go at this. Okay, so we're going to do exactly that next. So we're going to start look at how we can set the sprite's transformation effects. And it does, again, give you a step-by-step guide. So you can see it's talking through step-by-step on reminding you to open the software, which block groupings to go to, and which ones to bring in to build up your steps. You can see it's going through steps 1, 2, 3, 4, then on to 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, etc., etc. I'm not going to go through these word for word now because, of course, you'll have this to look back yourself. But it is talking through step by step how you can find all the different effect types and how you can start to adapt them and activate those by using different event blocks. You can see straight away just on the screenshots here, we've got up arrow, down arrow, left arrow, right arrow, etc., etc. And we've got different effects being controlled here. Okay, so hopefully that's starting to make sense. So you can do it that way just to start to get used to how we can adapt those effects and how they look on the screen just by using simple different codes like this. Okay, but what I'm going to show is something slightly different. So I'm actually now, rather than just play through the animation that we're going here, so you can see we have got a little video just showing some of these effects in action. I'm now going to switch to the actual programming software. So let's bring this up now. So we're going to use this pre-built code here. And this is going to demonstrate everything we were just looking at then, but take it one little bit of a step further. So hopefully you can see all this code on the script area here. So you can see I've got 8 different sets of code. So you can see, for example, for it, the first code is when the 1 key pressed, then 2 key pressed, then 3 key pressed, and 4 key pressed, etc. So that's referring to the number keys on the keyboard. And we're actually using all those effect blocks. You can see we've got change color effect by, change fisheye effect by, change whirl effect by, etc. And that's what it was encouraging to have a go in the step-by-step guides. But what we've done for the purpose of this demonstration is taking it a one step further, and you will have access to this example program as well. So to help demonstrate what everything is doing, we've also brought in some say blocks, as you can see here. So Panda will say exactly what effect is taking place. We've also introduced some repeat blocks, okay? So we'll actually be learning more about repeat blocks in the next lesson, in lesson 4. But if you do want to start exploring these now and how you can make use of those, you can do. You don't have to. We've just started to use these in this lesson just to demonstrate these effects a bit better. Because what's going to happen is going to loop the effects so you can keep on seeing the effects in action. And when it gets to the end of repeating 10 times, it's going to clear it back to normal. Okay, so you can see we've got that set up in all these program blocks. Again, you don't necessarily have to use these repeat blocks. You can if you want to, but the main thing is just to understand what is happening with all of these change effect blocks. Okay, so hopefully that's making sense. I'm actually going to bring the stage area up bigger so you can see exactly what's happening. So we've just got a simple Panda sprite here. I'm going to start the program. Okay, so now I'm going to start pressing those number keys and you'll be able to start seeing these effects in action. So I'm beginning with number 1, which is color. So you can see the color changing on the sprites as it's running through. Now number 2, we've got fisheye. Now I'll be warning you, some of these are a little bit discombobulating to look at as they run through. Next is whirl, as you can see it whirling around here. Then pixelate. Mosaic, which is basically getting the sprite to multiply itself. We've also got brightness here. Ghost, which basically makes it transparent. And then the size one, last but not least, number 8. And I can set all of these off in different, at the same time. You can see it's all going a little bit crazy on the screen. Which is just to give you a good example of what all these different effects are like and what they do. Okay, so we will have access to that program as well, but hopefully starting to get an idea of all these different effects, how you can use them, and how we might use them to show off Panda's talents. Okay, so I'm just going to minimize this for a moment. So again, hopefully that was making sense how what I was showing you there on the stage area relates to all this coding. But the next step will, of course, be trying it for ourselves. So the next step with this is challenging the children and pupils to come up with their own example of this happening. So we would be able to now hand over to them and start to get them to experiment with the coding there on the Mblock interface to come up with something for themselves. But the challenge here is that, as we were talking about before, Panda is excited to showcase a variety of transformations at the upcoming party. So they would like us to create a program that does the following. Includes an appropriate background for the party. So remember, we looked at backgrounds in one of the previous lessons. So we want to bring that into the code still as well. We want to include at least 3 transformation effects. So 3 of those transformation effects we were just having a quick look at in the demo now. They are to be triggered, the transformations are to be triggered using certain keys. Now it does suggest these keys, either the up, down, left and right arrows and the W, A, S and D keys. So they can stick to using those, but if they want to use other keys, why not? They can use that as well. And we also want to trigger a reset of all the effects. We want to be able to get Panda to go back to their normal state by using the space key. Okay, so that's all of the main challenges that we want to be included within the pupils' effort and creating their own projects. Now, it does also, of course, give extension challenges. And I'm actually going to show you these now because I am going to show you an example where I start to bring in some more of this as well. So challenge students with the remaining time to do one or more of the following. So it could be trigger multiple transformations with the same event. So that means if they were to click a left arrow or right arrow, rather than doing one thing, it might do different things, like a multiple transformation. So you could do that. I'm actually going to show you something a little bit different to that in a moment as well. And we can say something like add say blocks to program Panda to say something during the transformation showcase. So again, in the previous lessons, we looked at how we can use the say blocks. So let's bring that into our overall project as well. So they could build up, first of all, from that initial challenge, then on to adding the things from the extension challenge, but I'm going to show you this all in one go. So it's always encouraging the students to share. So I'm now going to share with you what I have created. So let's go back to our software and bring in the new project. Okay, so hopefully you can see this. So this is what I have created in response to that challenge. So I'll talk you through the coding in a second, but just first of all, so you can see what I've done here on the graphic side of things. So I've actually added in this background. So hopefully remember where you can find and add different backgrounds from the built-in library. So I've gone for a nice party or festival themed background here, suitable for the event that's taking place. I've also used a slightly different Panda sprite. So I've gone for Panda holding a guitar, because that's also one of Panda's talents. I've decided that Panda can play guitar, so wants to show that off at the party as well. So they're the main things I've brought in for my project first of all. So remember, again, we can add the background in this section here. For the different sprites, you've got this section here where you can go in and find lots of different sprites in lots of different formats. to begin with. That's where I found the Panda Honda guitar. You can also modify those within the costumes section here. So you click on that, you see you've got the options to adapt and change these costumes in any way you want as well. I'm not going to do that now, but just it's good to be useful of that tool that you've got to work with as well. And then next, let's start to take a look at the coding for this. Okay, so as was challenged, I've brought in 3 different transformations. And again, I've kept it like we had in that first demonstration. I brought in the loop. So I'm getting to repeat the transformation 10 times. Within each repeat, it's waiting half a second, so it doesn't go through it too quickly. Again, we'll be telling you more about how you use these in the next lesson. So don't worry if you don't want to use it just yet, but if you do want to experiment, then of course feel free to do so. And once to repeat it 10 times, I get it to clear out the graphic effects to reset itself. Okay, but what I wanted to talk about as well, I've gone straight to the extension challenges, but I've done it slightly different. So you and your pupils, you could go to it doing a different transformation on the same key press, but I've gone for actually now bringing in sound files. So as you can see here, so I've got when left arrow key pressed, carry out this transformation, but also when the left arrow key is pressed, play this sound. So I've decided that I wanted to bring in some sounds to my party. And the way I've done that is by using this sound block here. So this is something really easy to experiment with. There's no reason that your kids can't start having to go at this now. So if I, for example, just a demonstration, bring in another play sound block like here. So you can see I've got this list of sounds that I can select from at the moment. So these are actually the main ones that I've been having to go with. But to add in more sounds, at the bottom left here, by where we can change the costumes, we can also change the sounds that we're working with. So if I click onto this, and then select the add sound block here, you can see I get this library of all sorts of different sounds. So I can filter through these with the different types, different themes at the top here, but then start to hover over them. And as you can hear, it is giving me the different sounds. And I can just select any of these and it will put them into my library to work with here now as well. Okay, simple as that. Hope that is clear, but that's how we start to use different sounds. But I'm just going to get rid of that while I'm not using that in my block, in my code at the moment. But hopefully you've got a good idea of what code I've built a bit. So just different arrow presses, which are going to do different things once I'm playing the program. So let's have a look at that in action now. So I'm going to go back to making the stage area bigger. I'm going to press the green flag to start the whole code. And it now is waiting for me to activate. So let's go for that now. Here we go. So I've got Panda multiplier as a mosaic speaking to me, saying I love space guitar and using that sound effects. Left, I've got Panda saying party time and whirling to the right, to the left. Right, I've got them pixelating and saying let's celebrate. And I can join all of these together like so, just by clicking the different arrows. Okay. So that's how I've tried to bring to life Panda's party to celebrate arriving on Earth. Hopefully, again, that is all clear how that's working together. But I'm now going to stop this by hitting the space key, and it's gone back to the original graphic size. And it's as simple as that. Okay, so hopefully you enjoyed my party project and started to get some ideas on where you and your pupils can go with that as well. But a few more things to talk through. So, of course, as I've just said, always important to share the work they've done. So when the children you're working with have completed their program, get them to showcase it to you or their fellow siblings or pupils to showcase what they've been able to create and come up with. Always an important part of the projects and the lessons. Okay, so like we always do, it's important to review what we have gone through in that lesson with our quiz. We always love the quiz at the end of the lesson. So we've got a few questions to go through and answer next. Exactly as we've done before, I'm going to give you the question on the screen. If you can try and think of the answer to yourself, I will then reveal. So some nice straightforward questions again. First of all, which of the following options is not an event block? So which one of these would not begin the program running with an event? I'm sure you know which one it is. It is, of course, D, wait for 1 second. That is just a control block, controlling the flow of the program, but it is not an event which will start the program. Next question we've got, which of the following blocks can make a sprite look like the figure in the picture? So we were just starting to look at all the different effects. So I know you might not have all the effects in mind at the moment, but can you think what would be getting the graphic to do this from color, whirl, change size, and mosaic? Hopefully you've got an answer in your head. It is, of course, B, whirl. So you can see it in the image there that is just starting to whirl to the left. So that's how we get a graphic to do exactly that. And then last but not least, number 3, which of the following blocks can make a sprite return to its original appearance? If we want to get it back to how it started at the beginning of a program, which one of these would we use? Would it be a say block, next costume block, when space key press block, or clear graphic effects block? I'm sure we know the answer to this. It is, of course, D. Clear graphic effects will, exactly as it sounds, clear out all the effects we've got running and take it back to its original format. Okay. And that is everything we wanted to go through for this lesson. So again, hope you've enjoyed that, and I'm starting to think about how you can have a go at that lesson with your pupils and children. Again, we'll be sending through the supporting slides I've just been using here, together with the lesson plans and the example programs that you can use. So look out for those coming through on email shortly. If you do have any questions at all, as you start to use this, as always, please do get in touch with us on info@creative-hut.com. Anything else you want to explore on what we do and how we can help, you can find that on our website. And of course, if you do want to share examples of what you're creating, as well as doing that on the full Makeblock platform, please feel free to do that with ourselves on our social media channels, which you can see on the screen here at the moment. Okay, so perfect. Thank you all very much again for joining the 3rd lesson. The 4th lesson will be coming soon, so look out for the dates and where you can register for that as well. But hopefully you've enjoyed lesson 3. So thanks very much again for joining, and have a great afternoon. But bye for now. Thank you.